Hi there, my name is Athel and this is an episode of Ask Athel Anything where I answer your questions about love, sex, happiness and anything. So let's jump to it. This is a long question, so I'm going to cut it down slightly for time. Essentially, the guy has read my first book, The Married Man Sex Life Primer. The book is excellent, but he is now in a position the book doesn't touch on and is curious about it. So he certainly recognized that he's been way too much of the nice guy, too kind, too caring, too beta. Wasn't like that at the start of dating. Wife has gone through a lot of trauma and issues. 4 close family friends have died. Mom diagnosed with cancer, big falling out with friends. And she started going to a therapist for depression, and he basically turned into her absolute support blanket. And she slowly lost interest. We're now separated, and the word divorce is thrown around. She wishes he could change. He has now read the book, has started saying what he's doing wrong, has recognized he could do things differently, and she is sort of perking up a little bit. She's still not living at home, but now she's the one contacting me and asking me to make plans. Huge change from a few weeks ago. As I started reading the section 3 of the book discussing moves to try, as great as they are, none of them can really be used in my situation. She's not living at home, and she has admitted that sex with me is something she's not interested in at all, so none of these moves are going to have a good outcome. Alrighty, so what do I do? Alrighty, so let's do one big caveat before we sort of jump ahead. You do have to rule out and make sure that there is no other guy in the picture that your wife is having some sort of contact with. Almost invariably when people move out or they separate, it's very, very common that there is someone else involved. You gave absolutely no indication that that was the case in the question, but I do just have to throw it out there that you just need to rule it out to make sure it's not happening. The other thing I'm a little curious about was the big falling out with some of her friends. I'm a little curious as to what that was about, but no more information than that, so I'm only curious. Alrighty. Moving on. You are absolutely correct that now is not the time to be trying a whole bunch of initiations and super sexy moves and trying to escalate towards the bedroom. Absolutely correct. Right now she has no interest in that at all. She's probably at the point where she is hoping that she might feel that one day, but she certainly doesn't now, and you trying to make all that happen now is just going to backfire horribly. She's just not interested. Right now your primary goal, your number one goal, is simply to get her to move back home. And that can be a moving back home without any particular expectation of sex happening then and there, because just getting her back is going to be a big step. And it's super important to get her back home because you can do all these amazing things that you're now realizing in terms of creating attraction. You can hit the gym, you can lose weight, you can look better, you can dress better, you can clean the house perfect, you can do all sorts of stuff to make you more attractive and more appealing. But because she's not there to see them, it's like they didn't even happen. So your primary goal is to get her back in the house so she can actually see this and experience this and actually be more attracted, and so you can actually get credit for this stuff. It's not a display of high value if it wasn't displayed to her. So the other thing you're going to need to do is, when you are doing good things that are going to be high value and create attraction, you need to find a way to report them to her or display them to her before she's moved home. So that can be as simple as just texting her during the day, like, hey, this is what I was up to, this is what I was doing. If she is following you on social media, I would pay a little more attention to updating that stuff. You may have no interest in Facebook or whatever, but saying the good things or cool things you did that day or where you're going is one way of communicating it and one way of showing it publicly. So it is something that's hopefully going to get her attention. And the other thing you really need to do is, at this point, you're just almost trying to reestablish sort of a baseline friendship and a baseline sense of affection and intimacy. So it's all those incidental points of contact. It is the texting stuff. It is, hi, hey, how are you? Good morning. What are you up to? All those incidental points of contact can be fine. I wouldn't bomb her with a shock and awe campaign of 30 texts a day, but I would certainly initiate them once or twice and see what she does. If she's texting back and there's some sort of back and forth, cool. If you're texting her and there's no particular response, let it sit for a few hours, half a day, whatever. You're not quite trying to chase her and pursue her, but you're just giving her opportunities to respond. You're also kind of getting back to the place where you're going to have to revert to a situation where it's like, I need to basically court her again. I mean, I get that you're married, but at this point she has backed away so much, it's almost like you're trying to build the relationship back up again where you're just, her boyfriend. So if she is wanting points of contact, I mean, I think you said that she's now the one contacting me and asking me to make plans. You changed from a few weeks ago. Holy crap. If she's contacting you and asking you to make plans, I would make some plans to do anything, to go anywhere, to have fun, to have some sort of social interaction, to have a positive experience where she can actually spend time with you, she can enjoy it, she can feel a little bit better about you. These do not have to be over-the-top expensive dates. It can be as simple as let's go to a movie. It can be come over and let me cook dinner. But some sort of excuse or reason, activity to hang out and basically spend time with each other and get to like each other a little more. Where you're basically modeling this is what the relationship would kind of look like if you were moving back. The other thing I would do is that when you are together, I would do incidental touch, by which I mean it is the hand on her shoulder, it is the kiss hello if she's into that, it is the little back rub, just incidental touch, friendly, affectionate, connective. She's not going to be interested in sex at this point, but you can certainly do some points of connection in terms of just physically touching her. That being said, of course, if you are together and she is obviously being responsive to that level of touch, then yeah, I would escalate a little further. Now, certainly if she is coming over to you and initiating touch and contact with you, absolutely take advantage of that, pick up on it, return it, connect, see where it leads. If at any point she's getting to the place where she says that's enough, or no, or this is too much, or whatever it is, then I think you stop it right then and there. I get the sense she's a little bit skittish. And if you can imagine, a sort of a scaredy cat, if you're jumping on them to try and hug them and love them and squeeze them and stroke them, that terrifies them and they kind of bolt. So for now, I'd play it slightly soft. The other thing I think you need to do, and you've started doing this and you've seen the positive response to it, is I think you need to give her a sense of hope that things can actually get better and you have some sort of self-awareness and a plan to improve things. Now, of course, shameless plug, I actually think you watching the video series and being open that you are watching the video series, not necessarily sitting in front of her doing it, but saying this is what I'm doing, and the video series being The Married Guy's Guide to Wife, I think that might be a really useful tool because at least she can see you doing something, participating, being consciously aware of, okay, I need to make this relationship slightly different. And I think she needs that sense of hope that the relationship actually can be better. Not just better now, but better than it was before she left. So I think you can kind of use that video series as a sort of as a prop to prove and justify you attempting to make changes, trying to do new behavior, and trying to make the relationship a little more conscious. Okay. All that being said, that is all good advice that I think you should do and will potentially work. I think there's another level to this that you also need to think of that is a little harder. So here's the deeper question. She's moved out. She's talked about divorce. And that's a really, really significant, serious move. And she may have perfectly good reasons for doing that, or she may not. But it is a serious move. And right now, you probably have a degree of tunnel vision and sort of target lock of, how do I get her back? How do I get her back? How do I get her back in the house? How do I have sex again? How do I make this relationship better and have it all go away? How do I solve the problem? I think you also need to think through not so much, how do I get her back at any price, but I also think you need to qualify her coming back in terms of what is it that she needs to do. What does her mindset need to be in order to have her come back? And what are the goals and sort of new relationship norms and things you're doing that you're wanting that is going to make her coming back work out well in terms of you move forward and the relationship improves and gets better, as opposed to she comes back and that's as good as it kind of gets, and then the rest of the relationship is you walking on eggshells trying to do all sorts of tricks and tips to get her to just stay where she is. Because I don't think it's enough that she just comes back and that's it. I think she needs to come back and the relationship continue to improve from that point. So I think you basically need to clarify and be clear about what it is that you're offering here. What is the deal that's on the table? I'm prepared to, when you actually say, I'm prepared to do X, Y, and Z in terms of making the relationship better, and this is what I'm thinking about and what I want to happen. But if you were to come back, I need you to participate in that, and I need you to do A, B, C to be part of that process. Understanding, of course, that it's not like she moves back and then blowjobs to completion just suddenly falls from the sky and this is the new normal and there's nothing more to be done. Like, her coming back is the starting point to really improving things. So what is the deal? What is it that you're actually offering her? What is the arrangement that you're agreeing to? Are you going to go to marriage counseling together? Is she going to continue doing some sort of counseling? Is she going to go on meds for the depression? What are you going to guys do for diet and exercise? You didn't say if you had kids or didn't have kids, but how is that arrangement going to be? Lots and lots of things to think about. So it's not just she comes back and whew, that's all I needed, but she's going to come back and this is the way we step forward. And I know that's a scary thing to talk about, because I know part of you is thinking, oh my God, what if she doesn't agree to it? What if she doesn't come back? If I have some sort of demand for her. And I think you have to realize, if you have some sort of baseline demands for her and she's not interested in them, you may be kind of sort of dodging a bullet if she doesn't come back, because if she comes back and there's no expectations and there's no plan for moving forward, you may be just prolonging the inevitable or having a really miserable time for the next couple of years until you decide to make a move. And also, if she comes back and moves forward and things are better, that's all going to go better with a much clearer plan. And she may actually be more interested and more attracted and more respectful of you if you have a clear plan that actually has expectations on her. She may be more interested in that than a wishy-washy plan where the only thing you need is her to come back. So it is a little bit of a double-edged sword, but I think it's going to create a sort of a resolution point where it's either going to be something you can clearly move forward from in terms of the relationship is better, or clearly move forward from in the sense of she's dropping out for no particularly clear reason. So that's about it. I'm going to leave it there. And the videos here, as I mentioned, The Married Guy's Guide to Wife, and you can get that on Vimeo. The links will be in below. It is a really, really good series. I think you get a lot out of it. The first 2 videos are free. You can simply start watching. And probably a more appropriate starting point than the primer. The primer is wonderful, but probably a better starting point for your particular situation. And until then, my name is Athol. This has been an Ask Athol Anything episode. Do all that good internet stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I will catch you next time. Bye.